Previously on MapleStory the novel, Sacred Tears.
Goddess, what are your commands?
Until the goddess recovers, I am taking command of this front.
Stand firm. We must not let him into the temple.
I intend to shatter her.
Just don't do anything rash.
You have nothing to fear.
Mother.
There isn't much time, but you deserve to know the truth. All of it.
And now the continuation of Chapter 23, Part 3. Ariel dropped to the ground, heaving for breath, when a strong hand grabbed her arm and pulled her back on her feet. After catching her breath, she followed the arm covered in deep sapphire blue armor to meet the face of her mother. The sight stunned Ariel. Her wings, now made of light, hinged on mechanical points hovering on her back. Her usually weak blonde hair was now sky blue. Her armor shone like a dark blue gem, fitting her trim figure perfectly.
Mother. Why?
There isn't much time, but you deserve to know the truth. All of it.
Ariel stared at her mother for a long while.
What do you mean by everything? I am the goddess of time. I know all there is about who—
Not everything.
Minerna cut in, glancing back at Nanahuatzin and Haim fighting with Magus Sloe to hold their position. Taking her arm, Minerna dragged Ariel farther into the temple where they could be safer. Ariel was about to protest when Minerna touched her forehead, pulling them both into a space surrounded by wispy blue light, standing on what appeared to be water.
What did you do?
Ariel demanded, spinning in all directions to find some sort of directional anchoring point. Minerna appeared as her usual self, though she appeared older than before.
What I need to tell you requires more time than we have, so I have bridged our minds. Only moments will pass in the world.
Minerna explained, curling her wrist and summoning a mirror framed in intricate carvings. Ariel ready to argue her distaste of what she thought was pointless conversation when images of someone walking down a cobbled road from the first-person perspective faded into view. As if with cautious wonder, Ariel moved toward the mirror, feeling as if long dead and buried memories were bubbling to the surface of her mind.
This is Margata.
She breathed, nearing the mirror and touching its smooth surface, noticing that much of the city still appeared pristine. The picture looked to the left, revealing a woman in a dark blue dress with flowing sleeves and shoulder-length blonde hair in the reflection of a dress shop window. The reflection reached up and teased the end of her hair, while Ariel subconsciously did the same. Her mass of red hair, however, broke her from a trance-like state as the reflection shook her head in shock, mirroring Ariel's movements.
Why is it so familiar to me?
Ariel breathed as Minerna stood beside her, placing a hand on the mirror and spreading her fingers, drawing Ariel and Minerna into the reflection and into Margata. Ariel appeared disoriented, looking at her hands and examining her dress before snapping her stare back at the shop's window.
This body. This is Minodora.
Ariel realized, stepping closer to examine the face she now wore.
No, Ariel. This is your true identity. You are Minodora.
The mention of her name made something in her mind feel like it broke, and a torrent of emotion and memories flooded Ariel's mind. Her childhood, her parents, her discovery of something wrong with the world, hearing Dane decline the vote to become Master Alchemist, her first proper introduction to Dane, their wedding, studying the darkness, Dr. Long's project finale, and her death. It all came rushing back to her. When the flood of memories finally ceased, She stared at her hands, glancing between them and her face in the glass's reflection.
Who am I? What did you do to me, No. You're not my mother. But how am I alive? How have I lived so many eons before my own birth? What did you do to me, Minerna?
Ariel screamed, lunging at the goddess, only to be restrained by magical rope. No matter how Ariel struggled, she couldn't free herself from her bonds.
Why reveal this to me now? About all the lectures about revealing oblivion!
Ariel demanded, watching Minerna lower her head, as if letting out a long and weary breath.
Who are you really?
Ariel whispered as the rope faded from existence, releasing her.
I am Minerna, but I am not the Great Mother. I am the goddess of time in Usoria, appointed by Cosmordia Tridia Nexus to keep and protect all temporal matters for Usoria,
Minerna announced, holding her wings wide as a gentle flourish of power showered around them.
What did you do to me? Why make me the goddess of time when you've been letting me pretend? Why reveal this oblivion to me when you know what it could mean?
Because this path of time is what will allow Usoria to continue existing. Revealing your oblivion now will not alter your timeline, as you were so very close to revealing it on your own.
Minerna breathed, lowering her wings and walking to the window, where she stared at her own saddened reflection, her youthful face appearing to age decades.
Usoria is, in fact, many hundreds of eons older than you remember. My time as goddess of time is coming to an end. I witnessed the end of Usoria in the mirror of time. I witnessed the darkness of the world evolve and rise, tearing the planet and the entire universe asunder. I tried to formulate a plan to avoid this catastrophe, but all my attempts ended with the same result.
The end of Usoria.
Ariel breathed, watching a picture in the shop's glass shift and move as Minerna explained.
I sought out the Cosmordia Tridia in hopes of learning how to avoid my universe's destruction. Nexus showed me a path from Usoria's creation to its salvation, but I refused to believe that it was the only path. I saw so much death, so much needless suffering, all leading to the continuation of my world. And so I resolved to save my world a different way, one that didn't cause the suffering Nexus foresaw.
Again, the picture shifted, showing Minerna speaking with a massive, blue, lion-like creature.
Little did I know how spectacularly I would fail,
Minerna mumbled, shifting the picture again, revealing dozens of instances of her and Dane fighting back against the darkness, only to have the world destroy itself. Many times, timelines would last many decades beyond their current point in time, but the result was always the same: complete annihilation.
After each failed attempt, I rewound time to the great beginning, tweaking the lives of different people in hopes of avoiding the world's destruction, and each time I would fail. However, two new problems began to appear. The first was that of the darkness. It wasn't reverting to its less powerful state with each timeline, and instead, it compounded with the following timeline's darkness.
The images showed Minerna hovering over a massive scroll, twisting the ends until it was at the beginning, and then painting the world into existence with a wave of her hand.
It was you. You were the reason the darkness won't reset. It latched onto you and affected the new timeline when you began again.
Ariel realized, her voice for a brief moment sounding like Minodora's.
Yes, leading to my trying more desperate tactics and timelines to defeat the darkness quickly. They all failed.
And what was the second problem?
The second was the erosion of the human life forces. With each reset, I would gather and save them, then reinstate them into the timeline without letting them return to the air dust flow. Without that renewal, their life forces would experience wear, much like a garment that is worn far beyond its useful lifespan. I could not repair that wear, knew that without some kind of help, they would eventually become too weak to support their bodies. not repair that wear, knew that without some kind of help, they would eventually become too weak to support their bodies.
The image shifted, showing Minerna holding what appeared to be a bright star in her hands, her hair and clothes flowing in a gentle breeze.
Hiem came to me after a dozen or so resets, scolding me severely for the damage I had done to humanity. It was through him that I became aware that I was also rewinding the memories in time for him and Nanahuatzin as well. Hiem only noticed something was wrong when he examined humanity more closely, following the cause of the life force damage straight to me. Hiem used to be so brutally powerful, stern, and frightfully efficient in battle. But beyond that, he was protective, kind, and above all, loving.
Minerna finished with a long sigh, as the image of Haim appeared in the reflection. Ariel was about to speak when she caught the different name Minerna gave him. Was there some other part to their past she was not aware of?
That doesn't sound like the Haim I know. What happened to him?
Ariel asked, watching Minerna appear to reach for the face of Haim as if to put a hand on his cheek.
I revealed what I'd been doing, confessing that I had no solution for the wear humanity's life forces experienced. It was then that Hiem presented his solution. He would use a sliver of his soul to refresh the life forces, keeping them strong enough to maintain a body. But if I kept reversing time, and he kept having to give more of his soul away, it would reduce him little by little.
Haim's form stepped from the image, walking behind Minerna and putting his arms around her waist, leaning his head on hers. Minerna rested her hand atop his, closing her eyes as a long, stuttering breath escaped her nose.
Wait, were you...
I tried to keep my resets to a minimum, but each time I failed, I told myself that one more reset would reveal my solution, and each time it would take another sliver of him. Before I knew it, I'd reset the world trillions of times, stopping only when Nexus came to visit me and asked why I hadn't let the timeline he revealed be the one to save the universe. At first, I said it was because I didn't want anyone to suffer needlessly. But after a long silence, I realized my own pride was also the cause. And so, I reset the world one last time, guiding events as they needed to happen, leading us to today.
But what does it have to do with me? How was I made the goddess of time at the great beginning, when I clearly died in Usoria many eons later?
For Usoria's salvation, Dane would need to absorb the darkness of the world. For that to happen, you needed to help guide him as the goddess of time. For you to become the goddess of time, your life in Usoria needed to end, and only by your mortal death would Dane be set on the path to become Magus Sloe.
Waving her hand, the reflection showed the few moments leading to Minadora's death, where Dane cradled her as she lay dying in his arms.
Why don't I remember becoming the goddess of time?
Ariel asked, watching the moment just before breathing her last, touching the window as she watched Dane shatter.
At the moment of your death, I intervened before your life force returned to Fane's Erdust flow, telling you everything that would need to happen. I would take you back to the great beginning as Ariel, the goddess of time, but your memory as the mortal Minadora would be sealed until the right time. You would have no memory of Dane, your love for him, or your time living in Usoria. You gave it much thought, but agreed, asking that you be allowed to visit Dane one last time before I took you to the great beginning.
The image in the window shifted to a ledge overlooking the Aquanon Sea, where Dane and she, as Ephania, stood watching the sunset.
Give me time, Ephania. I want to move on, but...
Ariel stood in stunned silence when Minadora appeared to step into the scene, leaning against Dane opposite her and putting her arms around him, speaking softly into his ear.
It is all right, Dane, my love. Move forward. Don't let your heart become a cold ember. Let it be the roaring fire I know it can be.
She stayed that way for a long while, mentally calling back to Minerna that she was satisfied. Minerna then slowly broke down her life force as she faded from Dane's side, rebuilding it as it coalesced at the beginning of time. Her now long crimson hair fell in cascades over her back, and her golden eyes opened, staring back at Ariel as the image faded, revealing her reflection in the mirror where they stood in Minerna's mindscape.
All this time, I've been nothing but a tool to you. Dane, Rhinne, the Aurora. Everyone's been nothing but a tool for your world to continue living, hasn't it?
Ariel asked, the realization dawning on her that she was now back in her goddess form.
For the world to continue existing, yes. But not for me or him.
Ariel tilted her head with a slight jerk.
What do you mean?
Minerna waved her hand, summoning another mirror resembling the mirror of time within the temple.
When Nexus revealed this timeline, he also revealed that once Usoria was saved, my time as the goddess of time would come to an end. There always needs to be 3 deities, and so I questioned who would be the new deity of time and life. Fanes revealed that the new god of life would be born 200 years after this battle. When all the humans of this timeline have passed away, the fragments of him would coalesce into the new deity of life. But Rhinne, your daughter, would become the new goddess of time.
Ariel stepped back, both excited and terrified at the prospect.
Then we need to start that process as soon as possible. Dane, Magus Sloe's forces are dismantling the temple's troops, and I don't think I can keep Rhinne safe on my own, even as a goddess.
Ariel pressed.
That is not what time has in store. You must do what you feel is the correct course, but I cannot tell you what that should be. If I do, then all the suffering endured by humanity, you, and Dane will have been for nothing.
Why? You told me who I am and what part I play in your elaborate plan. What more is there that would—
For Rhinne to become the new goddess of time, she must die.
Ariel stood frozen. It wasn't the fact that her daughter would die that made her freeze. It was the casual, disconnected ease with which Minerna stated it. It was as if she were revealing a fact of why sand was gritty or why the sky was blue.
What?
The only way for Rhinne to become the new goddess of time is to eliminate her mortal half. For that to happen, Rhinne must die. In that moment, the divine half-soul will assert itself and revive her, allowing her to become what fate meant for her.
No, there has to be another way.
There is no other way. This is a decree from Cosmordia Tridia Nexus himself.
Then I will find a way.
Minadora, listen to yourself. You are making the same mistake that I did for eons.
Minerna scolded, gripping Ariel's arms hard.
Don't fall into the same trap. Let the timeline play out. You will make choices from here until the end of the war, but you must be the one to make them. They will lead to Rhinne's death and rebirth, but if I tell you what choices you make, you will make different choices, leading to the universe's death.
Then rewind time and start again. Find a way to—
I can't rewind time anymore!
Minerna bellowed, bowing her head, hanging onto Ariel's arms as though to keep from collapsing.
I can't. There isn't enough left of him's soul. Watching him destroy himself for all these years because of my pride is more than I can bear. It's taken him from me piece by piece. If I rewind time again, it will use up the last sliver keeping him alive, and I'll lose him. If he vanishes, then all the fragments keeping humanity alive will also disappear, vaporizing what little remains of humanity's life force. The recoil of so much life disappearing from the air dust flow will tear this universe apart. There will be nothing left to save.
Ariel said nothing, standing in dazed silence for a long while, when the warning from the monks of the blue came back to her.
I warn you again, this path may grant you more regret than you can afford.
Ariel's heart felt as if it were crumbling in her hands. Her skin felt cold, and her breathing became harder. It was just like the monk said. It was too much for her to bear. Her choices would lead directly to Rhinne's death, and there was nothing she could do to prevent it without sacrificing existence to do so.
Let me go, Minerna. There isn't much time before the end.
Ariel said, her voice shaky.
Please forgive.
Be silent. I don't have much resolve left. And if you speak, it will only make me falter.
Ariel snapped, her tear-stained glare looking through Minerna. Minerna nodded, sucking on her dry lips and waving her hand between them, throwing them both back into the battle-torn temple. An explosion thundered through the halls as Haim and Nanahuatzin slammed into the wall beside her, chains hurtling toward them. Minerna took up her shield, bracing herself against the impact before Haim. Nanahuatzin moved away from the chain in a flash of light, kneeling to catch his breath while hanging onto his spear. More chain spears burst from under Sloe, lifting into the air like scorpions' tails, while Hilda and her forces began to filter into the hall behind him.
You cannot stop me, Ariel,
he shouted, the chains howling toward them. Ariel summoned her axe, ready to block the chains, only for Minerna to step in and deflect them with expert swordsmanship.
Go, Ariel. Go to Rhinne to protect her. We will hold them back,
Minerna ordered.
Cool, Knights. Push Dane back. Assist my mother.
Ariel called, as a wave of blue formed before her.
Knights, place your formation,
Minerna shouted. Each knight, chiefs included, summoned their spears and drove them into the ground. Ice flared across the marble, cracking like thunder and freezing everything in sight. Nanahuatzin gathered his strength, swinging his spear hard as a wave of light howled above the ice. Haim struggled to his feet, holding up his hand as his dagger hovered in his palm, becoming 5 daggers floating above his head as he charged at Magus Sloe.